Guys, I got me another Defender set that I decided to pull out real quick. I've got it fired up, and this thing is dead. DOA. I did not... This is just a sync issue. This is positive versus negative sync. I'm not going to worry about the sync right now. If I scratch this guy right here, there is a little... If I scratch this trace between these two pads, then this will straighten up and it'll be right. But as I have it right now, I'm not going to scratch that trace. I'm just going to work on it like this. I have been looking over the schematic on this thing, and this schematic does not follow the board. You can see the first thing I was doing is going through all of the clocking. And you can see here we've got 6D and 5D because I'm looking at the Q and the E clock. I've already verified that all of the 12 megahertz is there, and it's split down to 6 and it's split down to 4. All of those clocking signals are there. Now I'm looking for the 1 megahertz clock signals. You can see these guys right here are 1 megahertz clocks. Basically, you get 4 megahertz comes in here. It's split here to 2 megahertz. Comes over here and becomes... It's divided again and it becomes 1 megahertz, and then that comes down and feeds this guy, and it's got the... It's got the same data and the same, and it's clocked. It's clocked basically off of this guy. So basically, it's going to be 1 megahertz, but it's behind this guy. It's like 90 degrees behind this guy. As you can see, this is what they actually look like. It's E and Q. So this is just a delayed version of this. Well, remember that's 6D and 5D, and this is the Defender manual, later series. This is the 7765. 5D is right here. That is not a 74. This would be 6D. So that's just completely wrong. So what I've had to do is kind of poke around on the board to try to find those signals, and I found them. It's these two 74s right here at 7J and 7L or whatever those are. But those are those two signals. You can see 4 megahertz starts the whole chain, and oops, there's your 4 megahertz clock. You can see, let me come up under here. You can see right there, 4 megahertz. So there's the 4 megahertz that starts this whole chain reaction, and then that's divided down into 2 megahertz. Okay? Then that comes over and clocks the same chip on the second one. There's your 2 megahertz, and then that's divided down into 1. And then that 1 megahertz comes over and clocks this guy. There's 1 megahertz. Remember, this 1 megahertz is going to be 90 degrees behind the other. And here's the output. So we got an absolutely dead 7474 right here. And luckily it's socketed, so I'm just going to replace it. And it might just be a funky socket. So I'm going to turn it off and kind of mess with this and see if it's just the socket, or... I don't think so. I think it's the chip. So let me do that. I'm going to pull this thing out. Okay, I got that chip out of the board, and there it is, 74LS74 fault. So that is a bad chip. So it's just missing the E clock. So let's put a new chip in there, and we'll see a lot more life out of this thing. Well, this is interesting and not very promising. This is that chip that my chip tester said was bad. And remember, it looked like this. Well, if I hit reset, I don't think I can do this. See that? It works. That's a power on reset thing. When you hit reset, it toggles. This data is, the data line is connected to the power on reset circuit. And it's working. So this chip was actually not bad. It was very strange. Okay. Well, the search will continue. I'm going to have to... So that has nothing to do with... Yeah. It doesn't have anything to do with that. Okay, well, I'm just going to have to keep on looking. Okay, now I have found something. I found a definite problem. Anyway, this is a 367, which is used to buffer the addresses off of the CPU. Here's an input. That's right off the CPU. And it's output. Input off the CPU. And it's output. And same thing. Input. Output. All the way down. Input. Output. Input. Output. So this guy right here has issues. It's a 367. Like I said, that is the address busing. There could be something tied to those that's making them funky. It could just be the chip. Hopefully it's just the chip. Okie dokie. Well, we got the new 367 in. Right there. I decided to socket it because this is actually a tested good pull. It's not a new chip. I don't have any brand new ones, so I'm using one that I had previously pulled out of a board that tested good. So I got a big old bag. I'll show you. I got a bag here of chips that I pulled out of boards that test good. All tested good pulls. And I dug a 367 out of there because I'm out of 367s. And I popped it in there. That's why I socketed it. Normally, if that was a brand new chip, I would have soldered it right into the board. Because if you saw my previous Defender repair, that's one reason why I do not like using sockets. If I don't have to. If it's just regular old TTL chips, I rarely will use sockets. You just get... I feel more confident with the connection to the board without a socket. That's just me. Some people might think that's crazy, but that's just how I feel about it. Anyway, this is a really nice board. It's got 4164s in it, and these sockets have all been replaced. And this is my friend Steve's Defender board set. And I don't remember if I did that or not years ago. I don't think so. But anyway, I got the new chip in. Let's fire it up. All the LEDs went out. That's good. It booted. And remember, I don't have the sync set to work right. If I scratched this guy out right here, it would be perfect. This little trace back here. So let's go ahead and reboot her. And there it is. Works good. Looks really good. I mean, it's working. You can tell it's working. That's just the way that the sink is set up. And I didn't feel like scratching that trace, so this will go right into the game and be good. So, well, there's another one fixed. Just one chip, just a 367. That's when I get a completely dead board. That's what I do. Is the first thing I do is I check all the clocks. Then after that, I check the data bus buffers. It's usually just a 245, and the addresses being buffered going out. These three guys right here buffer the addresses going out. So that's it. Awesome.